students, last class already of course you have seen. I have received some more questions from your end, from the chapter 1, what we have completed on in the last 3 or 4 classes. Let's see in that if some more question, some students have asked these are the questions in my version number. Commonly 3 or 4 students have asked all these questions. These are very simple. Just to see one more thing. Calculate the potential difference required across a resistor which having 5 ohm amount pass a current of 1.5 milliampere. Remember in this question, remember the potential difference you have to evaluate, and the 5 ohm resistor is there, and the 1.5 milliampere the current is going to flow across the circuit. Now it is a closed path, a simple circuit. Remember, already I have told you have applied the Ohm's law. Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, you know. V potential difference is equal to current into resistance. So already current is given, resistance is given, no need to ask this one. Already you have cleared your doubt or not. V is equal to simply write down I into R. So that I is equal to 1.5 milliampere. 1.5 milliampere is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. That ampere, this amount into 5 only have to multiply. Then you can get the potential difference. In case of you can get the millivolt, you can get by the unit, or you can get by the unit of a volt. Like the question number 1 is clear. Nothing is there. V is equal to IR. Then you see another, I have given a circuit like that in the last, but 2 or 3 times asked this question. This is 6 ohm, 6 ohm, 6 ohm, 6 ohm. These are the conductive path along all these resistors. 6 ohm and this 6 ohm, they both are in parallel. Look at here. They are not in series. I have to find the voltage across these AB points. So not the voltage, but the equivalent resistance across AB is called RAB. To find out the total effective resistance or equivalent resistance on this circuit, you just remember this 6 ohm, they are in parallel, and this pair is also parallel. If two resistors having equal value set to be parallel, what is the effective on this branch? The effective is equal to 6 divided by 2. So R divided by N. 6 by 2 is equal to, you are getting 3 ohm is this one only you are getting. Because 6 ohm parallel to 6 ohm, the effective resistance is 3 ohm. Similarly, this 6 ohm and this 6 ohm, these two are also in parallel. Within this, you can get the 3 ohm. So this is 3 ohm and this 3 ohm, both are connected in series. So you can say that 3 ohm plus 3 ohm becomes 6 ohm. Is the effective resistance across A and B. Within this, you are getting 3 ohm. Within this, you are getting 3 ohm. Then this is very simple also, like that already been clear. Then you see now, in the third question here asked this simple circuit, when the switch is closed, this potential difference is called electromotive force is 12 volt, and 8 ohm is the resistor, this one, and the two resistor 12 ohm, 8 ohm, 6 ohm. These two are in parallel combination, this is in series combination, and to find out the current in each resistor. You have to find out the current in individual resistor. How much current is flowing across 8 ohm, how much current is flowing across this 12 ohm and 6 ohm. Before going to find one, I told you that find the effective resistance on this circuit. So what is the effective resistance? This 12 and 6 are in parallel. So find out the effective resistance of these two resistors. Total resistance of these two resistors. That is called, how can you find out the effective of these two? 12 into 6, R1, R2 divided by R1 plus R2. R1 into R2 is equal to 72 ohm square divided by, you are getting R1 plus R2. 12 plus 6 is 18. So you are getting, remember, 72 by 18 you can get divided. So that is 4 ohm. 12 into 6 you are getting this 12 into 6 divided by 12 plus 6 is equal to how much? 72 divided by 18. So this is called, remember, you are getting 4. 4 ohm is this path. The total resistance is going to 12 ohm is connected in parallel to 6 ohm. The effective resistance become only after the calculation you are getting 4 ohm. This 4 ohm you are getting. 4 ohm and 8 ohm are in series connection. So how much total resistance across the circuit? 8 plus 4 is equal to 12 ohm. That's 12 ohm is the total resistance. Then remember now, the total resistance is equal to 12 ohm, and this 12 volt is supplied there. So 12, you know that the Ohm's law you can apply, V is equal to IR. V is equal to IR, so that the current established on this circuit should be in this direction. I is equal to V by total resistance. Total resistance is, remember, 12 ohm, and total amount of voltage is 12 volt. So the 12 divided by 12 is equal to 1 ampere per getting. You get back 1 ampere current. 1 ampere current flows across this 8 ohm resistor already got. This 1 ampere current divided into how many parts? This is a junction. You can apply it here. The total amount of current entering to this point is called 1 ampere. That 1 ampere divided to 2 parts, but not equal. Why? These two resistors are not in equal values. This is 12 ohm, this is 12 ohm. So what you can do, then here remember, you have to apply the branch current evaluation method. Remember now, this is suppose I, this is divided to how many parts? 2 parts. So that remember I can put it here, I1 is equal to total I into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Whichever. Similarly, you can say I2 is equal to I into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. This is the formula branch current. So whenever you are finding this one I1, remember if it is I2, I want to evaluate what to do? 6 divided by 6 plus 12. 6 plus 12 is 18 into how much? Into your ampere, 1 ampere. 1 ampere. How much you are getting? 6 by 3. So you are getting 1 by 3 ampere. 1 by 3 ampere it flows across this branch. Then similarly, what is the current across this one? Here similarly you can say 1 ampere into similarly R1 is how much? R1 is equal to 12 divided by this is called 12 plus 6 is 18. So you can say this is called the 6 to 6 3. 2 by 3 you are getting 2 by 3 ampere. Remember now, in this branch 1 by 3 ampere current flows. In this branch 2 by 3 current ampere flows. So 1 by 3 plus 2 by 3 is equal to 1 ampere. Already remember. So to find out the branch current, remember go to that I1 is equal to I into R2 by R1 plus R2. I2 is equal to I into R1 plus R2. So in that case you can put the value, you can get that the branch current, the sum of the I1 plus I2 is equal to I. According to Kirchhoff's current law at this junction you can see. Similarly, you see another question you are asking the doubt. That also you see, commonly this question somebody asked. R1, R2, two resistors are connected in series, remember. This is one resistor, this is another one resistor. It is called, how much? R1, it is called R2. When this is connected, RAB is likely to be this one. This is the, when they are connected in series, RAB become kete, you are getting 25 ohm. Similarly, when they are in parallel, the both the same resistor are connected in parallel, then remember you are getting when this is called to R1, it is R2, the R effectively become R effectively becomes 6 ohm. This must be given. So what are the value of each and individual resistance are going to find out. Here remember, you know that when two resistors are in parallel, what is the formula here? So R total is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So R1 R2 is how much? We don't know. What is R1 plus R2? R1 plus R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 is how much? When that is series, this is called R1 plus R2. You can put it here 25. What is the total resistance? 6 ohm is equal to R1 R2 divided by 25 ohm. So you are getting R1 R2 product of two resistors is equal to 150 ohm square. Follow? Now remember, sum of the two number you got and the product of their number you got. Sum of the two number is called the 25 ohm and the product of the two same number R1 R2 is equal to 150 ohm. You apply the difference of the two number how much? Applying the algebraic expression formula, identity, find out the R1 minus R2, solve that two equation mathematically by following any method of substitution or you can say elimination or cross multiplication method, find out the value of R1 R2. Basically remember, then after that you check your result whether the sum of this R1 R2 become 25 or not, and the parallel circuit, the effective one is 6 ohm or not. That already you can get back by this formula. This is your last one. Another question was given me, that is remember, if this one, if 30 number of resistors are there, A is equal to 30, and you can say each having the, you can say 5 ohm, each having 5 ohm. How many number of resistors are there? 30 number of resistors, each having the value of 5 ohm, connected in series and parallel both. What is the effective one? When in series equal C, to find out the effective resistance, R effective or R equivalent is equal to, remember, how much it is? You can say N into R. N is how much? 30 into 5 ohm. So you are getting that equal 150 ohm you are getting. Follow? But whenever they are in parallel similarly you can write down the R effective is equal to R by N, which is called, you can say 5 ohm divided by 30 is equal to 1 by 6. 1 by 6 you are getting. 1 by 6 ohm you are getting. Follow? So this 1 by 6 ohm is less than positively with the 5 ohm, less than that when they are in parallel. That is the formula already given. Another question, some short question towards the asked the question like that. when a circuit is said to be open, the student has asked. So this circuit is said to be open, and the circuit is said to be short circuit. It is called short. It is called open circuit. Then in case of open circuit, what is the impedance and what is the impedance after the short circuit? And the short circuit impedance is 0 and the impedance is equal to Z and Z is equal to infinity when the electrical open circuit. You remember this one. This question also somebody asked me. So the impedance will be infinity in the open circuit and take the impedance is 0 in short circuit. Always it will be. This was the question you have asked me. Maybe I am anticipating or the doubt has been clear. But then you see our the chapter 1 is completed. Go to your questions what are given in the exercises books, try to solve because you are getting the chance, you are getting much more time now in house you have to solve. In between also you may ask the questions what you have, if you have doubt you have for your confirmation. Then you see the second chapter is called our, write down this is electronic emission. Electronic emission. What does it mean? First to remember. What is electronic? We know electricity. First chapter related to fundamental of electricity. What is electronics? Flow of electrons in the vacuum tubes or gas tubes or semiconductor devices and fruitful application in different purposes is called the electronics. Electronics are the flow of electrons through the different type of tubes, maybe vacuum tubes or gas tubes or semiconductor devices called electronics. And similarly, what is emission? Emission for emitting. That means you can say electronic emission is a process by which the emission of electron takes place. Electrons can be emitted. So how the electron can be emitted? Let us see now. For example, it is a metal surface. Metal surface is in solid states. Inside it is made of by inside the molecular structure is there. All the molecules are tightly packed. But remember, if these metallic surfaces, you are going to apply some of the electrons and random in motion inside it, because it comes by means of positive ions also there. Because you know that the structure of an element is called made up by the electrons. Some particles are there, electrons, protons, neutrons are there. Similarly, the electrons are in random in motion. They are movable in motion. They are tightly packed. So electrostatic force between the electrons and is going to be very maximum. Let us see, we are going to disturb this metallic structure, this metallic plate, by applying some more forces. Then and there, the electrons are to extracted from the field. But you remember, without any application of field, can it be possible the electron to be extracted? Can you emit the electron? Never possible. Electron is driven away, driven in by the positive ions existing inside it. So what to do now? The metallic surface should be taken and apply such a force or external agent from different sources we have. Then the electrons can be emitted from this metal surface. Each and every metal surface, like you can say aluminium or you can say iron or you may take silver, like this what we have. Each and every has a minimum energy required to driven out the electron from the metal surface. Depends upon that what type of material is it, and remember, we have to remember the properties of the metal and the nature of a material or metal what you are using for this purpose. The minimum energy releasing required to extract the electron from the metal surface is called work function. सेटा हुआ जाए work function. बुझेगा? Work function is called the minimum energy required, which is denoted by phi naught. Minimum amount of energy required to emit the electron, driven out the electron from the metal surface. If remember, the work function will be different for different materials. You may say that actually remember, we have to find out the electronic emission currents by different way. We know one formula, remember. How can you see? Remember, suppose 1 electron volt is this is the unit of electron volt is the unit of you can say that is called work function. The minimum amount of energy required to driven out the electron from the metal surface is called the work function. I told you it is different for different material because it depends upon the what type of a metal you are using. Secondly, depend upon the nature of that material. So accordingly, 1 electron volt is the minimum energy required to driven one number of electron with the application of a voltage of 1 volt. Then remember once again, we know that W is equal to, you know that, V into Q. Already I told you the first chapter. As W is equal to VQ, V is equal 1 volt, 1 volt into, remember, 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb charge of 1 electron. Then you are getting, this is called 1.1 electron volt. You are getting 1 electron volt is the amount of energy required to driven the 1 electron from the metallic surface with application of 1 volt. One more thing you remember, the metallic surface what you have, that remember the platinum is the highest work function. Platinum, the symbol as PT. PT, the work function is equal to how much we are telling? That is called 5.6 electron volt. But the cesium, you know, this is called the lowest one. That is called, you can say, the 2.14 electron volt. Mujela, this is, remember, platinum having a work function of 5.6 electron volt. Cesium is this one, 2.14, lowest one, least one. This is the least one. This is the highest one. Accordingly, some more metals are given to you. You have to remember these metals. So remember now, for the work function of that you call, you can say aluminium basically, or you can say copper, or you can say Ag, whatever. Aluminum have the minimum work energy 2. This part electron volt. Copper has, you can say, 4.65 electron volt, and you can say the silver has, you can say, 4.70 electron volt. This is the minimum energy required to extract the electron, which application of required by external sources. Let us see now. We can see accordingly. You have to remember for the field emission. For this field emission, the different type of emission processes we have. Let us remember different type of electrical emission we have. One, the electrical emissions are classified into a variety of categories, and depending upon the different source we are going to take it. Let us see now. The electronic emission is classified to 4 categories. Classification depending upon the sources we are applying. One is called the field emission. Second is called the thermonic emission. One is called the field emission, second thermonic emission. Then is called secondary emission. Third is called photoelectric emission. Look at here. There are 4 types of electronic emission processes we are using. Depending upon the sources you are applying as the input. One is called the field emission, then thermonic emission, photoelectric emission, secondary emission. Look at here. To extract the electron, to emit the electron from a metal surface, from the beginning I told you the source is essential to apply on there by the form of energy. If you 1 electron is driven out, 1 electron body required with application of 1 volt of a potential difference. Similarly, this field emission is called the same type by which voltage you have to apply. Basically, the high voltage is going to apply on this, that is basically 10 to the power somewhat factor there, remember, for 1 meter only. Remember, field emission is required whenever 10 to the power 80 volt per meter average is this one you are applying to get back the field emission. Then remember one more thing is here. Field emission is the emission processes by which electrons can be emitted with the application of this much of voltages minimum. So highest voltage field is required to create at the input level so that the electrons can be extracted, can be emitted from the metallic surface. Similarly, thermonic emission, what happens? Thermonic takes place from the thermal energy. Whenever you are applying the higher temperature there, the electrons, the metallic surface will be heated with a higher temperature. Then and there, the electrons inside the metallic surface will be excited, and they will get the energy. They will get the higher energy to move rapidly. The velocity of the electrons is going on increasing, and the kinetic energy between the electron and the metal surface is going to be increased. Due to that ones, immediately they have to extract it from the metallic surface with the application of higher temperature. It is called the thermonic emission. Photoelectric emission is the processes in which you are applying the light energy you are applying. Light as a basic source you are applying as the input, so that then the electrons can be emitted by means of light energy. Light contains by means of with the specific frequency to illumination takes place in the metallic surface to get the electrons. Let us see now that electron what you are getting back for different purpose you have to utilize. Then that is our application in this one. But what is the secondary emission? If a high speed electrons, just like the functions is going on picture to you, old picture to you. Let us see now the CRT, cathode ray tubes or cathode ray oscilloscope. Primary source of electron is required as a input source, on which, due to application of primary high-speed electron going to strike to the metallic surface, immediately metallic surface containing electrons and positive ion with higher electrostatic force going to be emitted by the secondary, because by application of primary source of electron you are getting secondary electron. Hence remember that is called as secondary emission. These are the different type of emission processes we have to apply in different ways. Let us see now. As the emission process is going on, electron is extracted away, there must be existence of emission current. What is that emission current? That emission current will be followed up by the Richardson-Dawson equation. The by means of Richardson-Dawson equation, according to scientist name, this name is given. Dawson's equation to evaluate the current density. That remember one form of Js is equal to a t square e to the power minus b by t. Look at here. Here what is Js? Js is called, remember, the emission current, the emitting current, or you can say current density. Let us see. Js is the emission current established from the metallic surface due to application of different source. Already I told you, four category I told you already, that already I have discussed. Then here remember this T is called the temperature. T is called temperature, and you can say A and B are constant depending upon the type of metal you have chosen. And you can say this B is called the base of logarithmic base 2.718. The name is this one. Logarithmic base, natural logarithmic base is this one. A and B are constant. T is the temperature. Look at here. If you are dealing with the thermal emission, I am dealing with thermal emission. With the application of high temperature, the electrons emitted from the metallic surface, then and there they follow the Richardson-Dawson equation by this formula, which will remember it implies that the emission current is directly proportional to square of the temperature. What temperature applied? Square of the temperature, directly proportional. This implies I can say Js is directly proportional to T square. You can say accordingly. One more thing just to here this B is equal to, where you can say B is equal to phi into E by, you can say A. Phi into E by, what is phi? Phi is called the work function. But here emission current is a function of which one? Function of, we can say, current density. Let us see, remember, the Js is the current density, already told you, that is called amount of current divided by the surface area. So this implies the emission of current is different than this current density, Js into S. Js is the current density, I is the amount of current, and remember S is the surface area. How much, what is the surface of the metal you have taken? Depending upon that, we are going to evaluate. This remember. So Js is depends upon which value? Js, the current density is depend upon the temperature of the surface of emitter and the work function. So Js you can write down here. In place of B, suppose I am writing phi E by K. E the charge of electron, phi is called the work function, K is the constant, Boltzmann constant. By this way, that will indicate that the emission, the current density of the metallic surface, it depend upon the work function, also depend upon the temperature, also depend upon the surface of the emitter. Let us see now. Then the question arises: here you have to apply these processes. You have to apply the thermionic emitters. You have to apply the different thermionic emitter we have. Then see, simply this is Richardson-Dawson equation we are finding. Then we are getting a graph in terms of that. That is not in your syllabus. Let us see now one more thing. We have to choose the thermionic emitter. Why the name is thermionic? Because thermionic emitter you have to choose. It is one among the cathode, in which the input is called a thermal energy. Due to application of thermal energy, the metallic surface will be excited, so that existence of electrons inside the metal surface will be disturbed, and they have to follow the path with high speed, and they have to driven out from the metal surface by the application of high temperature. So thermionic emitter is a cathode in which the cathode may be directly heated or may be indirectly heated. Even if, remember, the electrons will be extracted from the metal surface, that electrons, what is extracted, that remember, either this cathode will be directly heated or may be indirectly heated. Remember, you have to choose the thermionic emitter which has the low work function. Work function. That means phi naught will be less, least phi naught. You have to choose such a metal. Then similarly, with having the, it has also with high melting point. High melting point. Another thing you remember, the high mechanical strength. You have to choose the emitter, high tensile strength or mechanical strength you are telling. You have to choose the emitter or cathode surface in such a way which possesses by low work function the minimum energy required to extract the electron I told you, which is denoted by work function phi naught, and most of the high melting point and most of the high mechanical strength, so that easily the electrons can be extracted from the metallic surface and utilized for different purposes. Let us see now the emitter, this cathode itself, this cathode. Let it be thermal emitter is based on a cathode which having the electrons will be emitted by the surfaces. Let us see now one more thing. Here there are two types of emitter. Cathode, thermal emitter is there. Or cathode itself is two types. One is called, you may be directly heated or may be indirectly heated. Remember, you are using heater coil in your daily life. You are cooking yourself. What does it mean? The heater coil is made by nichrome. It is alloy, not a metal. The two or three metals are in combination there. Basically nickel and chromium summation equal to nichrome. But when you are heating your metal, your pot or utensils, what you are doing? You are putting it on that, but the coil is not touching to your metallic surface. Is it touching? No. But the metallic, what the coil of the nichrome coil has to be heated, then that is transmitting through the air towards your utensil, then even the container containing water is going to boil. That's the indirect heated. But remember, if your container itself is a coil, what will happen? If the container itself is a coil, that is called directly heated. So remember here, the thermal emitter may be directly heated or may be indirectly heated. Our purpose to extract the electrons. Hence remember, with based on the thermal emitter, it is one among the part of the thermal tubes. Let us see now different type of tubes we have. Previously, before going to back pages, go back to the 100 years ago or 50 years ago. But you see the different size of radios are there. The big size of radios are there. Why the sizes are big? Now you can keep the radio in the pocket nowadays. Meaning is that in that time the radios has been and televisions has been prepared with the help of these tubes, which are called basically vacuum tubes. What are these vacuum tubes? Vacuum tubes are using for different purposes. Maybe for rectification, maybe for amplification, but using for different purposes. Vacuum tubes are classified according to existence of a number of electrodes. First remember, if the two electrodes have been designed, then you can say that is called diode, vacuum diode you can say. That is called vacuum diode. Then called vacuum triode. Then called tetrode, T-E-T-R-O-D, vacuum tetrode. Then called vacuum pentode. Follow? You remember. One is called vacuum triode. The tube name is like this. Tube name is vacuum triode, vacuum tetrode, vacuum pentode. Remember, it has two number of electrons. It has three number of electrons. It has four number of electrons. It has five number of electrons. Look at here. Name the electrode used for the vacuum diode. The two electrodes are called. One is called anode, other is called cathode. Your cathode, the thermal emitter I told you acts as a cathode here. Let us see, anode is called a plate here. But in case of triode, it is designed by three electrons. Anode and cathode along with another extra one that is called control grid. But in case of tetrode, you are using four type of electron. One is called same, three electron is there, anode, cathode, along with the control grid. Along with another is called you are using sealed grid. Sealed grid is one of the extra electron used for tetrode. But in vacuum pentode, we are using for this vacuum pentode having the 5 number of electron, same 4 number of electron what we have already, that is called the along with another extra one. What is that? We can say the plate or anode or cathode, which is called thermal emitter. Then you can say control grid, sealed grid and suppressor grid, another grid here. Here remember, if you know the function of this plate as well as a cathode, every cases only one will apply. The electrodes are going to change. Let us see now in vacuum how to vacuum tubes possessing two electronic function. Let us see now. We can take it as a vacuum diode. Vacuum diode. Remember what it is. The vacuum diode will be, remember, always we are using the evacuated glass envelope or a metallic. Evacuated, nothing is inside the glass. Because if gases is there, electrons will not be emitted. Then what the problem is there? And it will be heated immediately. It will damage your tubes. Hence, first of all, the tube will be evacuated. Then this is the plate. Plate, this is called the cathode. Plate, this is called the cathode. It is called the cathode. It is called the plate, or you can say anode or anode. Anode project. It is called, remember now, friend. It will be like this. We are taking a filament. Filament extracted. So it is a filamentary cathode. If it is heated, the electrons will be extracted. Look at here. Then here what happened? The vacuum tubes which having the two electrons is called the one is anode, other is cathode. Then this is called the filament. This cathode now it is directly heated. Then the heat will transfer. Due to transfer of electron, what happened? This has to create a cloud here. What does it mean cloud? Number of electrons are there. The maximum number of electrons will gather to these plates, to these surfaces. As you know that if along with this one, if suppose a milliampere you are giving a ammeter here, then you see suppose I am connecting like that. Milliampere, the ammeter is connected here. That has to detect the flow of current. But here remember, how can it detect the current? The circuit is not closed now. Hence, close the circuit by supplying some voltages. If you are going to supply some voltages, then that is in case of, remember, you can take it, the circuit should be closed. The circuit should be closed. That remember, you can take it here, here you take a voltmeter, okay? Then remember, connect this one. After this one, take it here, take this one, and just you can join to a rheostat like that. Then you are applying your voltage. That means you have to apply the what voltage? Plate voltages. That plate voltage you are applying it is more positive than this. Here remember, this is called the voltmeter. It is the ammeter. Then we give the sign as it was, it is minus, then plus. It is called similarly minus and plus. Then you remember this is the rheostat. A rheostat to है. Let us see one more thing. How it is functioning exactly? It is remember in this remember in we are not taking air inside it. It is evacuated because for ourselves we are taking because heated the filaments will oxidize and bond if air is there. In chemistry you know how the oxidation takes place. Hence it will oxidize and bond. That to avoiding this one, we are using it is evacuated. Also cathode cannot emit the more electrons. Then if the air is there, more electrons can be created in the vacuum other than gases. Hence we are choosing the glass envelope will be evacuated. Then two electrons will be inserted along with a filamentary. Either the cathode will be directly heated or indirectly heated. Then connected by this phenomenon. Thus remember ammeter is connected along the path in series. Voltmeter connected with this one. Parallel to this component can get back how much voltage going to apply at the plate terminal. Plate is always positive with respect to negative. If plate is positive with respect to this extra circuit, you can take it here. It is extra circuit. You have to heat this filament. After heating this there, the metal inside the electrons will be disturbed. Then they will emit the electrons. The electrons will emit it, create a space charge region here. But once the voltage is applying at the plate terminal, what will happen now? Then automatically the circuit is closed. Or the pointer is pointed to this point having a rheostat, a variable resistor, automatically there is a plate current establishes. As long as the plate is positive with respect to cathode, there is a existence of ammeter to show you the IP or plate current. You can get back the plate current along with the plate application of plate voltage, which by means of you can say Child's 3/2 rules. I told you what is the Child's 3/2 rule? Due to this one, whenever the plate is positive with respect to cathode, then your ammeter shows you the indicating of amount of current. That related, the IP is directly proportional to VP or EP, I can say plate voltage to the power 3/2. To the power 3/2. This is called Child's 3/2 rule. Child's 3/2 rule is employable here. Then you see now, whenever we know that this IP is called the plate current and EP is called the plate voltage or supply. Let me remember, IP is equal to K times of EP to the power 3/2. It is also Child's 3/2 rule. It is called known only. I told you, never obey the Ohm's law graph. It obeys the graphs followed by, remember, with respect to Child's 3/2 rule. IP and VP are related to each other. You see the 3/2 the power is there. That means they are not linearly varying. That has to touch the origin, but that will be a chord. The graph itself is a chord we can get there. Accordingly, remember, we can say that how can you draw the graph of this? Remember, here you just remember, when the plate is positive with respect to cathode, current is trying to close ammeter is show you the current. You note it level. If that remember the EP is varying, EP1, EP2, EP3 varying, IP1, IP2, IP3 record. Then you see that IP divided by EP to the power 3/2 always remains constant. That remember, IP divided by EP which is 2 the power 3 by 2 is equal to always constant you can get back. That is called the non-ohmic resistance, and the followed by means of the graph. Let us see the graph. What is the plate current versus plate voltage graph is here. For this purpose, remember, you can draw a graph like that. That graph also maybe I have drawn like this. Let us see. I have drawn like this. Same thing once again. How can you draw the VI characteristic of a vacuum diode? This is no. This is a diode. Okay, let it be. Suppose it is a vacuum diode. It is, remember, the plate is there. It is called, remember, I am going to take it to the cathode, join it with a voltmeter. Then it is ammeter connecting like that. Then what happens? We are going to possessors with respect to rheostat, which having a variable resistor. This is. Then I am connecting a plate voltage here. At a time, whole plate voltage is not applicable. Look at here. Partly I am going to apply because it varies with respect to rheostat. Then what happened now? You may connect this one also like that. You connect, you can take no problem here. Then you see now this extra, remember, this is the filament extra. I am going to alternating source and applying alternating source, which having a variable resistor for our self custody. The filament will not be burned out. Hence, remember, the circuit will be applied like this. Here, remember, what is the characteristics? If I am taking the plate current in one axis, okay, plate voltage in the other axis, then you will get a graph like this. You see, this is the graph I am getting. Then this is another graph I am getting. This is for T1 temperature, it is for T2 temperature. Look at here, it is not linear, it is a graph. Within this, remember, what you have up to this. I am getting a region, this is called space charge region. This is the space charge region in which Child's Trias rule will be obeyed for this region. But remember, in this region, the Child's Trias rule never be obeyed. That I have to take like this. So IP is equal to AT square e to the power minus b by t. Which other? So here remember this is called for which region? For this saturation region. It has two regions. One is called the space charge region, other is called the saturation region. The AC plate resistance RP, that remember you can say already, the plate resistance for RP is always, remember, infinity at this case. RP is equal to infinity in saturation region. But remember here what is the RP? In space charge region, that is called, according to Ohm's law, EP divided by IP, you can say. That is called, you can say, EP by IP, but they are not directly proportional, they have to obey the Ohm's law. So change in EP, that you can say, change in EP, incremental EP, divided by change in IP, which is equal to RP. In case of this region, space charge region, this will be obeyed, and the RP is equal to infinity in case of saturation region. So the diode have two resistance, one is the DC plate resistance, other is AC plate resistance. But DC plate resistance will vary with respect to DC plate voltage. But the AC plate resistance will be infinity in case of saturation region, and it will be, you can say, delta if change in plate voltage to change in plate current is called the AC plate resistance. Let us see one more question is there. Just remember, how can you see this one apply the Child's Trias rule in case of space charge region, and another I have given you this equation, which is the other than Child's Trias rule modified version is applicable in case of different numerical problems. One more thing, the plate current in a diode is 1 milliampere. Let IP is equal to 1 milliampere is given to you. Which other? The plate current in a diode is 1 milliampere at a plate voltage of, if you remember, the plate voltage is equal to 50 volt. Followed? But this is the initial one. Initial plate voltage is given 1 milliampere. According to the application of initial plate voltage 50 volt. Then when the plate voltage is increased to this one 200 volt, then what should be the IP2? What should be IP2? You have to find on this one. You have to find on this one. How to find this one? For this purpose, remember, you have to put the Child's Trias rules. Then you can see, remember first, IP2 is directly proportional to collectively EP2 to the power 3 by 2. Similarly, IP1 directly proportional to plate voltage EP1 to the power 3 by 2 according to Child's Trias rule. The modified version of the Childs-Dostman's equation, the Boltzmann-this equation modified from there. Let us take it here now. If this is called proportionality and make it equal, what to do? Simply just to omit it and put it a k here. Simply you can put it a k here. Proportionality transfer to equivalence with putting k as a proportionality constant. Take the ratio of both two.
IP2 divided by IP1 is equal to k times of EP2 to the power 3 by 2 divided by k times of EP1 to the power 3 by 2. K will be cancelled.
Let us see now accordingly put the values what you got. You have to find out of IP2, you have to find out. Then you see what is IP2. Similarly, IP2 is equal to, you can take IP1 into EP2 divided by EP1 to the power 3 by 2. Power remains same, base remains different. Hence you can say, applying the property like IP1 is equal to write down 1 milliampere. What is EP2? Is equal to 200 divided by, how much this is EP1? 50. 50 to the power 3 by 2. Then how much it is now? You can take it like this, remember. 1 milliampere is equal, this is called 1 milliampere into 50 this is 4 to the power 3 by 2. Apply the exponential properties, 1 milliampere into 2 the square into 3 by 2, 2 to cancel. How much are getting? 8 milliampere are getting. That is called IP2 is equal to milliampere. What happened now? When plate current is going on 1 milliampere at a constant temperature, and remember EP1 is equal to 50 volt. If the voltage is going on increasing to 200 volt, what about the plate current? They may give you like this. If remember initial temperature, initial current is given, final current is given, and initial voltage is given, the output voltage never given you. The final voltage never given you. Same method you can apply, you can get back the other plate current like this. Just to remember students, this is called your chapter 2. So then you see, what you have taught? I told you vacuum diode, then vacuum triode. What the difference is there? Look at here. Vacuum diode has 2 electrodes, it has 3 electrodes. Here triode I didn't say you. And it is the plate as well as cathode. It has plate, cathode and control grid. These are the 3 electrodes. I told you in the vacuum diode, each operating, each functions. The condition when plate is positive with respect to cathode. If the anode is positive with respect to cathode, then there is a pole current and the graph can be drawn. If the plate is negative with respect to cathode, if the plate voltage is negative with respect to cathode, can it possible? The plate current never flows, so that it will become open. It becomes open when plate is negative, when plate is negative with respect to cathode, current does not flow. But a plate must be positive with respect to cathode, then and there current can be established. Due to this one, I can say that vacuum diode is a unidirectional device utilizing for as a rectifier. So, for example, sine wave is at the input. The sine wave, what magnitude you have? Having the positive and negative cycles are there. One of the cycle is going to establish only the positive half cycle present at the output other than the negative half cycle. Let you confirm yourself that from this characteristic you have to say that the vacuum diode is act as a rectifier. It is a unidirectional device because the second reversal is off. Second cycle, the half positive cycle is going to take place at the output, but the negative half cycle of the sine wave does not occur. Hence, remember, suppose the sine wave is like this, it is a positive and negative half cycle, this will be absent. The vacuum diode is not operating in case of a negative cycle, it is only operating for the positive cycle. Hence, remember, when using the output like that, only the positive cycles are present here, only positive cycles are present. Due to this reason, I can say the vacuum diode is a unidirectional device and act as a rectifier. Then remember, we will go to here onwards, then we go to vacuum triode, how it is using for amplification purposes, and what is its VI characteristics, what are the parameters used for the triode, what constant terms we have for this purpose, what we are going to utilize. Various type of problems are given you depending on the parameters of the triodes. Let dear students, you will try to be in safe, you stay at your home and always be sanitize yourself and take care of your health always. That is very priority. Then also side by take the importance of the teaching or the teachers are giving you the input because you are today the students you are, but nearby future you will be a teacher also. So students are the students are the teachers of the futures. Hence be concentrated on that. Or the teachers are teaching, be attentive, and on that, if any questions are arising on your brain, immediately put on the WhatsApp or by telephonic messages, you get back the answer from the teacher side. And always we are anticipating the same from your end, and be smile and always be happy what the study is going on. your decision is acceptable and you should take the benefit of that. The, up to the offline classes will become. Thank you, dear student. Thank you.